What's good, everybody? It's full-time trip. We back in the building at the San Siro. It's Inter 1, Arsenal 0. Just another game down, man. I am not the highest of energy, but we gotta show up anyways, man. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hope you all been doing well this week. Let's just talk about it, get right into it. No further delaying. I don't even want to make this too long, but tough battle at the San Siro, man. And the only thing that separates us is a penalty from, I don't know, I think it's questionable. Again, the arm can be debated as natural position, unnatural position, just in the motion at speed, whatever you want to call it. But that's the only thing that separated us in terms of score. But when you break down performance, I think we were the better side today. It is what it is. But first, I want to talk about Inter real quick. Credit to them. They are, as a defensive unit, they are the best in Europe. They are, if not amongst the best. I also think that we are one of the best, but when it comes down to very effective setups against teams that look to play maybe expansive football, they are probably the best nullifiers we have going today. So credit to Inzaghi, credit to them. I will say again a little bit I'm saying the fouls and falling over and stuff, and some of the 50-50s going different ways. It's more so the ref than them, but that's just whatever. Dark arts participation, and it's just crazy when some people are involved in it. They get red cards, other teams get involved in it. It's okay, but whatever. Biased people hate Arsenal, whatever. Still credit to them. Overall, credit to Inter. They were a very just sturdy, stodgy defensive unit. But given that, I think we did very well to weather storms, and especially in the second half, just mitigate, control, and constrict whatever they had to offer to break out from the low block. Again, first half, the first 20 minutes were really shaky. I think we were having a hard time contending with some of the setups, some of the matchups. Things weren't a little bit settled. I think Dumfries got a huge shot off the first 15 minutes. Excuse me. I think the first 15 minutes were definitely like a 15-20. I say we're a big period of adjustment. But we did weather that storm. We did go stronger into the game. And again, that second half was just really, it was just dominant. And through that dominance, there was a lot of good signs. Again, just us keeping up, defensive stability, us on counters in the break. We were able to snuff out anything that was starting, just keeping the ball flowing, keeping the ball moving, recycling the ball. I think those were good. Some individual performances, which we'll get into in a little bit, I thought were really promising and fitting and really good, considering how defensively stout they were. So getting certain things out of their feet, playing into something was important. It was important to see, and I'm glad I got some of those signs from some of the players. Got some people coming back who will also talk about just overall, I think a really dominant performance, but just didn't have the scoreline to match, and it just didn't go in the back of the net, man. Didn't go in the back of the net. I can't even recall how many crosses that we had, man, but unfortunately most of them weren't being their first man. But it's just, the performance was good. The performance was endearing to me because I feel like we have the ability to, again, hold control, again, mitigate these little things and defensive frailties that we've had in maybe the past few games, and just uncoordination, and really get at these teams, build up, constrict them to just their final third. But when it comes down to the creative solutions and slightly making tweaks, being proactive and being bold is kind of like my highlight for today. Being proactive and being bold. This is more of an Arteta thing first. Before I get to the players, I will say the proactivity and the reliance on senior members, I understand. The mind is a big factor when it comes into these things. Oh god, I'm so tired today. I don't even know. The match kind of tired me. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's just whatever. It's been a long day. But I think the senior minds, the senior players, doesn't necessarily mean a senior mind and somebody who is ready for that occasion. And you guys kind of know what I'm getting at. I still am in the camp where I don't want to rush Waneri. I don't want to rush Ethan whatsoever. I think feeding him to the wolves and giving him the bright spotlight, if he makes a mistake, he's going to get hounded. That's tough. The minute load, the physical bearing on his body, playing minute after minute, I understand. But in the contextual face of this game, if you're seeing gaps start to open up through the middle, and again, Saka's chained to a wing, other person's chained to a wing, and there's not really anybody else who can make those things happen, bringing Waneri on to be proactive and bold would be a potential solution there. I think Gabriel Jesus was a help, but later down the line, but I think Waneri should have came in earlier, in my personal opinion. I think there should have been some moves for more, again, central play and dribblers to be in the center. I think it was a bit late that Saka started to move centrally. I think that wasn't the entire time. Maybe a couple of times in the second half, later second half, like 67, 70 minutes, I saw him start to drift into central spaces after Waneri came on. I think that's when he came on. But again, my timing's off, but bear with me. Yeah, I just thought that there was a bit of a lag time with that proactivity, and that just doesn't become proactivity anymore. It's kind of just latent, just whatever, throw it in there and see what happens, instead of seeing the momentum shift, seeing us start to really pin them in, and when they try and press out, these gaps start to open in midfield, and that could be a place where Waneri shines. And you saw it. It's on the half turns, just receiving the ball, turning, moving into space. He was very, very lively, very, very much wanted it. There were some things that, again, shot just over the bar, but making things happen, that spark, the spark was there. And I think I'm not saying overload and start him, bro. I still am in the camp where I don't want him to start every game just yet, because of the physical load, because of so many physical demanding challenges, and just because the noise. I don't want that consistently, but in the context of proactivity and boldness for specific game states, that would have been a good move to make. Having Saka be a bit more central and hold that, and Waneri maybe hold that with, and they can combine and switch often. That would have been, again, a proactive and bold move that I would have recommended. It's just, I feel like Arteta's behind the 8 ball from a creative sense and relies too much on the known attacking patterns of the team. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying there's an improvement to be made there, to where there's the attacking patterns that we know, and then the creative expression above that comes with placing people in different scenarios to give opposition a different look, to give Inter a different look of, oh damn, what if Saka's coming in from the left? Oh, what if, again, things that we saw, like Martinelli coming more on the right hand side. And again, I get it, there's some personnel issues. No Calafiori, Odegaard just came back, which we'll talk about in a moment as well. There are some personnel things on that side, but with the team that we have, there has to be some way to create some spark. There has to be some way to squeeze some creative utility out of the players that we have, or else we're forced into these predictable patterns of play that Inter can just sit back on, just be like, yeah, whatever, throw across, head out. Yeah, whatever, throw that, head out. Like, it doesn't necessarily compute to them that it's going to be something different. It doesn't give them a second thought, and that's what I want. That's what I want him to build. We have the attacking patterns that we know. I don't want us to abandon them, but I want the room to build creative expression when it's time there. And I feel like encouraging that in the players and encouraging that in your tactics helps egg that on. Personally, if I'm wrong, whatever, shoot me in the comments. It is what it is. But I just think that there's room for improvement there. Proactivity and boldness. That's what it is. Arteta playing point blank, proactivity and boldness throughout this whole entire run. That's the two things that have stood out to me. Just take the chance. Just show bite. If you show bite tactically, maybe that might ebb and flow into the minds of the players while they're on the pitch, and they'll take that proactivity and boldness to heart. Like, again, Waneri should be an example at this point, willing to take that initiative. And again, it's a different profile set, different set of abilities, but that mentality of like going for it, running for it, seeing what's happening. Don't be too cautious. If you see something there, try and take a run. You know, I liked that difference of endeavor from Waneri, so that was good for me. General performances across the pitch. I thought our defense was much better today. Much better. I thought we were very, very, again, on it. There were some troubles in the first half, but again, adjusted to that. But afterwards, we got really on the ball. It's physical battle with Thuram, with Lautaro Martinez. It's really physical battles. And I think we came out on the other side of them, the victor in most of those, which I enjoyed. I liked. There were some sparks of proactivity in terms of making these little runs. I think it was mostly Saliba, where he would take these 5-yard runs, pass the ball off, and he didn't move too centrally because, again, they're packing the midfield, so that's a little bit of a scary situation. But the tendency to carry the ball a little bit more, give them that second option to think, dang, is he really carrying this into space? Is he carrying this into midfield? Like, giving them that second look. I want more of that, especially in these games where the spacing is so tight when you get into midfield. Maybe a little bit carry. If you see a little bit of daylight, maybe take it and pass it off if there's that option nearby. Create that hesitation in the opposition. That's what I want. I saw a little bit more from Saliba on that today. Gabriel, not so much, but you know, we'll kind of chalk that up. It is what it is. The major downside of this game today, again, it's just a glaring problem at this point, and I don't want to be overly critical or negative and stuff like that, but I just did not enjoy Trossard's cameo. I did not enjoy it. Just a non-factor. And the only times he was a factor was when the touch was too great, and it just wasn't enough, bro. It just wasn't enough. Like, I don't know. Him starting versus him being an impact sub is just such a different look, because I feel like, again, with the game stretch, he has enough room to cover for bad touches, to find his way into the box in certain situations. They don't account for him. But again, physically, he got out muscled by a lot of this midfield on Inter side. The passing range wasn't there. The ability to find looks and stuff like that, it just wasn't effective. He was essentially just another cog standing in there, just not really putting his imprint on the game. And I don't think he could have at this point. I run a form where I think him being a creative outlet or a central role is just not working out, in my opinion. It's just not to the standard that we want it to be, unless he's popping shots from however far out, and he only did it one time during this game. So it's just not useful. It's just not effective, and I don't want that in the midfield. Thank goodness, again, Martin Odegaard's back, so we can probably switch back and see what's going on, but I don't think him being in that midfield experiment is too good, honestly. I say Marino was a little bit leggy today. Maybe not leggy, but just not as aware, as sharp as I saw him in previous games. Again, time's gonna tell. I still think he's a good player to help out, but just wasn't sharp. It just wasn't as sharp today, I don't think. A little bit off it. Maybe the physical battle kind of took him off his game a little bit. It was a jolt that needed to give him some time to adjust, but I thought the subs and the changes that Arteta did make eventually when they happened, the one at halftime was helpful. I think that was Jesus coming on, but I think there should have been a little bit more to help between the lines. Eventually, the tactics did start to work. I saw White in between the lines. I saw Havertz in between the lines, getting up a little bit more central. Again, just a plus, but still, the proactivity to see when the momentum is with us. How do we add that little bit to turn the screw? I've said this before as well. How do we turn the screw? How do we turn the screw and really, really put them to go from putting them under pressure to changing the score line? How do we make that conversion? So there's that. But outside of that, I thought everybody else were pretty solid. I don't think there were too many crazy giveaways. Standouts, in my opinion, Jurriën Timber was fantastic to me. I thought he had maybe like one or two misplaced passes, but otherwise defensively he was on it, making a lot of proactive runs on that left hand side, crosses galore. I thought he had a good game. Martinelli, I thought he had a really good game as well, with, again, double marking on him. I thought his standout quality today was his crossing. He put it into really dangerous positions, and I think if Havertz was there more often, there would have been a lot more that did come from it, but his deliveries and his patience to keep the ball and hold the ball was a lot better today. Again, there's been a whole conversation about him this week. Trust me, I'm not changing my stance on that, but in the meantime that he's got the spot right there, I thought he was better. Saka, I thought he was, again, good again today with as much marking he can, trying to find spaces, trying to find crosses. He could have beat his first man more with some of his deliveries, in my opinion, but I think it was a solid game for him as well. Waneri, I thought he had a really good cameo when he came on. Again, short still, but he found gaps. He found spaces to put Inter players behind him and create moments, whether it's a shot, whether it's a layoff, whether it's that little dribble to create a little bit of chaos. I think he did that well. I thought Jesus had a solid stuff as well. Jesus wasn't too bad when he came on for his half. Outside of that, I think everyone else is pretty much like standard, pretty solid, but unfortunately it's a loss. It's a better performance, but we just didn't get the points, and I don't know where that puts us in terms of the table. I have to double check, but we got to pick up some points and kind of max out for the rest of this campaign as much as we can, because I do not want to be in the playoff places, and I do not want to be out of this competition, so we got to lock in. Also, good to see Odegaard back. Really, really, really good to see Odegaard back, man. The first thing I noticed was the jolt and the jump up in the press. Just like that, the press got so much more aggressive. Like the first 30 seconds of him being on the pitch, it was just on like that, and I love to see that, him being on the ball. He looked comfortable, didn't look too labored in his movements. We'll see what happens when he gets a bigger load of minutes. Hopefully in the next game, I think he may be poised to start that. We'll see, but it's good to have him back, and we're going to need him, because the creative solutions, the biggest takeaway for me is we've improved in terms of our control in the game, our hold on the game, but how do we find those creative solutions? How do we find the boldness and the proactivity to break down these low blocks, to break down, you know, these packed midfields, to find our solutions to get around these teams, to pass around, carry centrally, find innovative ways to not just, you know, find one overlap or not even overlap at all and trying to find these spam crosses to somebody who's not even taller than any of the inter defenders. How are we going to find proactivity? How are we going to find boldness in our attack sequences? That's the big question for me. That's what Arteta's got to find out. That's what these players have to commit to. And hopefully we'll see a turnaround, man. We have a big game against Chelsea at the weekend. Big game against Chelsea, and then I believe it's international break. We have to, I think, for me personally, I think that's a must win. I don't want to draw that game. I think that's a must win. That's a statement game for us to make and say, hey, listen, we still have something to say, and we still have a lot of our team that has to come back to really have a full swing at this. So I want to leave off the international break on a good note, so let's hope we get there. Unfortunately, it's been a tough one out today, but an endearing performance. But let me know what you had to say in the comment section below. Let me know who your standouts from the match, how you think the match went. Don't give me no Arteta in or out business in my comments, bro. I'm not here for all that other stuff, bro. But that's all the time we got for this today. I've been full-time Trip. Hey man, we'll see y'all soon at the weekend for Chelsea. Peace. COYG.